Algebra 2, Semester 2 Final Exam Review. I'm going to look at numbers 15 and 16 in this particular video. For number 15, we're asked which of these graphs show the solution to the inequalities, and they give us two inequalities. Y is greater than or equal to 2x minus 4, and 2y plus x is less than or equal to 2. One little trick is that what you want here to compare and look for these graphs when you're looking at them, you want both of these inequalities to be in slope-intercept form, or the mx plus b form. This one's fine because the y is alone, but this one we want to move some stuff around. We want to get this y by itself. So the first thing we're going to do, I'm going to rewrite it here, is we're going to subtract the x to the other side. It leaves us with 2y less than or equal to negative x plus 2. The 2 is positive, so it'll be plus 2 in the end. Then we want to divide by the 2 to get the y alone. So we're left with y is less than or equal to negative, and I'm going to write it as a fraction so we see the slope. Negative 1/2 x, I'm getting that 1 from the 1 in front of x there, plus 2 divided by 2 is 1. Now we start to look at the graphs. Remember that with the slope and intercept form, this is your y-intercept, so we have one of these lines should be going through the y-intercept at y-axis at negative 4, and the other one is positive 1. So when you look at your four graphs, if you look at the first one, there's one line is crossing at a positive 1. So I'm thinking, well, it might be this one. And there's one line passing at negative 4. That might be that one. So then you start to look at the slopes. So if we look at this line, positive 1, the slope was negative 1/2, which means it should be going down 1 and over 2. Down 1 and over 2. And it looks like it does match that inequality. So far we've got a match for just this one. Now for the negative 4, this negative 4, this inequality had a positive 2 for the slope, meaning we're going up 2 and over 1. Up 2 and over 1. Up 2 and over 1. It looks like, and that does match that slope. So this is a pretty good start for this option A. We just have to make sure the shading is in the correct place. Now this first one, the negative 4, that was this line, remember? We had to be greater than or equal to that line. In other words, the shading had to be above this line, which the shading is. There's the shading right above it. Less than or equal to tells me for the other line that my shading has to be below this line. There's the shading below this line. And we kind of lucked out here. We didn't really have to look at all four. A is our correct answer for number 15. Now for number 16. Which of the following is the simplest form of d squared minus 40, etc., divided by, etc., etc.? So now we've got to take this problem. We have to factor everything that we can. We're going to try to cancel what we can. But remember that the division has to be changed into multiplication. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write this problem again on this scratch paper. I'll start with d squared minus 40 over d squared minus 16. Now I'm going to go ahead and just change it to multiplication. So this gets flipped to multiplication. This fraction now, we have to use the reciprocal. We have to flip it. So that d squared minus 8d plus 16 goes on top. D squared goes on the bottom. Now, when you start to solve, or start to factor, this top left side has a common factor. They both terms have a d, which means that we can take a d out. When we do that, it leaves us with d minus 4 in the parentheses after we factor it. On the bottom, we have a difference of two squares. Square root of d squared and 16 both work out. D plus 4, d minus 4 times. And then, good thing over here, there's no number in front. This is the easier version of factoring. So whether you do diamond and box or just good old-fashioned trial and error, eventually you should be able to factor where it's d minus 4 and d minus 4. That's my text time, by the way, if you heard that. Mr. Can probably should have put his phone on vibrate. There we go. Okay. So we got this factored, and then d squared didn't change at all. So now we start to look at what's going to cancel, and I see d minus 4. Pew, pew. D, and looks, wow, that's really it. The d on top now cancels with this d squared. This is d to the first, which leaves us with a single d to the first on the bottom of that fraction, on the bottom right. So now, when we try to simplify this, and we actually multiply, there's two of these d minus 4s, so we can just write it as d minus 4 squared. Then on the bottom, we're left with this quantity, d plus 4 and d to the first. D to the first will go in front, d plus 4 after it, which, when we start to look at our four choices, is exactly the same as B. So our answer for number 16 is B.